One, okay.
A bit more volume. Guys, thanks for waiting up. A brilliant night at the MSG Theatre. A brilliant middleweight fight, and a new IBF middleweight champion of the world, two-time champion of the world. Big round of applause, I think, for the miracle man, Danny Jacobs. Well done, well done. And Danny, a few words. Big fight, pressure fight. Now you've done it. Feeling good.
Well, like I said before, many people didn't know too much about Sergey. I knew exactly what he had to bring to the table, and he showed it tonight. He was a tough competitor. I'm glad I got hit and was able to give it back and give the fans a really, really good show and earn this IBF middleweight championship of the world. Two-time champion, it feels great, and I think I'm in the best possible position in my career right now, so I'm looking forward to the near future.
Guys, we're going to open it to the floor.
Maybe give him a mic.
Well, I knew that. Yeah, I think someone should get a mic when they speak so everybody can hear it. But this question was: is there any familiarity with Sergey, being that I sparred him so many rounds? And there was. I knew that he had his angles that he tried to implement inside the ring, and I was able to take advantage of that. And I know also from sparring him that he gets tired once he misses. I heard through the grapevine that his goal was to go to the body this fight, and he did that tremendously. Much respect to him, but definitely it helped a lot being inside the ring with him before, so I was able to use my advantages. But I've always said that sparring is totally different from being inside that ring. I wish I would have had a little bit more time that first round. We could have had another first rounder, spectacular knockout. But this is the sport of boxing. All I can do is be grateful in how I won with the unanimous. Was it unanimous? Split.
It's that Philly real.
Only gave you 4 rounds. Hey, I ain't gonna complain. I got the belt.
Danny, during the rounds, you said to your corner there's a situation that you couldn't hear. What was happening during those rounds?
The dialogue. I was telling him that he was telling me what to do while I was inside the ring, but I was telling him I couldn't hear him. We have a great communication when we're in, obviously when we're in training and it works out, but in the fight, that's how we're able to keep in tune with what I'm doing. So he was telling me, I was telling you do this and do that, but I'm, letting him know, hey, I can't hear you. So sometimes a boxer's mind can go elsewhere and get a little stagnant. So that's why you have great trainers like Andre keep you, on point.
Danny, has it settled in? You're legitimately a champion now. Before it was the regular belt. They made a little bit of that in the press conferences leading up to the week. That might have been something that was a thorn in your side in the past. You're legitimately IBF recognized major belt holder right now.
Yeah, it hasn't kicked in yet, but I'm just grateful. But with success is always going to come some type of somebody saying something negative, and I understand that. So whether it was a regular world championship, I'm just grateful that I'm world champion again, and I get to be in the position that I've always claimed, which is one of the best middleweights, if not the best middleweight in the world. So now I'm more of a, whereas before I used to be, oh, this guy, he's good. It's more of a threat, not enough reward. So now I got the reward, so hopefully we can make these big fights in the future.
Dan, one sec, Dan.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Of course.
My question for you, Danny, is this. Middleweight's really a hot division right now. You're now a free agent broadcast-wise. You have a belt. You're a big name in the weight class. What do you want to do right now? I mean, you kind of have the world in your, if the world's your oyster, I guess you could say.
You said oyster?
Yeah, the world is your
I
oyster.
love oysters.
We is hungry right now.
You have your belt, you have your ability to go anywhere you want.
Yeah.
Any outlet, and you have the title, and you have a name.
It's bittersweet, HBO treated me like a king, The amount of promotion that we got, the respect, the attention that we got is bar none. I'm grateful that I was the one that they chose to give that to. Now that we're a free agent, only time is going to tell what's going to happen. But right now, I just want to enjoy this belt. I want to go enjoy my family and look back at the fight and see what I could have done better.
Maybe then either Eddie or your manager Keith can address that.
I prefer really not to address it right now. It's just mainly enjoying this. What happens in the future, you'll hear about it real soon, I'm sure.
David, tell us about the game plan. Dre, both of y'all tell us about the game plan in regards to the switch of stances throughout the fight.
Well, switching southpaw is never Andre's idea. You know, like I've always said, if I could be southpaw at the beginning of my career, I would have loved to. That's one of the things that, you know, as you can see, each and every fight that I have, I try to implement it a little bit here and there, but you can see it was an advantage. I could have worked my jab a little bit more. We were in camp, we was working with Demetrius Andre, we were sparring partners. He was giving me little tricks on how to work the southpaw jab and keep my distance. So cheers, much respect and cheers to Boo Boo on his championship and just being my brother and being there for me in camp. We was helping out each other. I couldn't ask for better assistance.
Yeah, after the fight, I spoke to him. He said he did very well. He liked the fact that how you maneuvered around the ring, kept him at bay in a sense of let him come in and land that left straight left.
Yeah, no, I think I did very well. Like I said, you can always go back and see what you could do better. And obviously, Andre was screaming out jab, jab, jab. But I know Sergey was planning coming over that right hand or coming under that right hand. And he got a little pop, you know, I'm not gonna lie, he was going to the body very well. So that was really my biggest fear, was him coming over with a big shot. So I maybe didn't put too much emphasis on the jab, but I have my reasons for it.
Eddie, what do you got?
Oh, I knew I had him hurt. And I know even in sparring, once I caught Sergey with a couple of good shots, he will always back up. So, and that's why I said, you know, a professional match is totally different. Once you put those 10-ounce gloves on, the headgear come off. You know, those little things he used to do before, the triple jab or coming in without that worry, he got much more to worry about now, and he shows that.
And it was a very close fight. Danny, over here.
Oh, sorry.
It was
I know the voice.
It was obviously a very close fight. What are you thinking before the scores are read? How close did you think it was?
I didn't think it was going to be that close. I knew I lost maybe a couple middle rounds, but the fact that one judge had me losing, I don't agree with that at all. But the fact that I got this victory, I'm not going to complain. All I can do is go back to the drawing boards and see what I can do differently. But what I would say is that I hope that judges, or some way, somehow, that boxers and fighters can understand what goes through the minds of the judges, or they can tell us prior to the fights the type of style that they're judging. So it's not like, you know, we're just completely oblivious to what we need to do in there, because you want to cater to your style, but you also want to cater to the judges just in case you go to a decision and you get these bogus outcomes. Yeah, I'm going to let you 5 years. Sorry about that. They wouldn't let me go, brother. Thank you. Yeah. Hey, listen, there was no emotion for me. This is kill to be killed sport. This man was trying to take away from my family. He was trying to take away from my future. In that very moment, for however long it lasted in that ring, there was no emotion from me. Afterwards, I felt some type of way, but not enough to, you know, let it affect me inside that ring. He's a true gentleman, and he has a beautiful family. This was the highest payday that he's ever had of his career, so I'm sure he'll be able to do well in the near future. And I wish him the best of luck, but as far as emotions inside that ring, to deter me from wanting to take his head off, that wasn't there, brother.
This ain't ballet.
This ain't ballet.
Eddie, question to you.
Danny.
What do you have next for Danny? What do you want? What are your plans? What do you want next for the man?
I would love him to get the Canelo fight. You know, it was a fight that we nearly got in May.
Cinco de Mayo?
Yeah, and now, you know, like he said in the ring, he's a champion now. He gets to call the shots. If he wants a defence, he gets a defence. But at this stage in his career, I think that the Canelo fight is the fight. And, you know, I know Dan asked the question, but I really echo what Danny said about HBO. I think tonight's not really about talking about other networks and the plans. It's about giving thanks to HBO for what they did for not just Danny, but for me and for Keith. You know, they believed in all of us to make the switch. They gave him 2 good solid fights, and then they delivered the big one. You know, he had 2 good fights, fought for the world title, and we want to thank Peter Nelson and all the guys at HBO. And it's sad to see him leave boxing. No one wants to see him leave boxing, but you know, they backed Danny Jacobs, and you know, I think right now, you know, especially tonight, it's not really talks about the future and networks and stuff like that. It's to thank them for their support. for me, you know, ultimately Danny and Keith will decide who they want next, but I would love to see him fight Canelo in May.
Danny, Chris Stein here from the Fight City. Congratulations once again. It's a different fight. We talked to Andre, and Andre said you didn't want this fight. This was a family affair. You made business, you won the title. Congratulations. How do you go about now when it's bad feelings? Basically, the kids have fought, the parents got to step in. How do you basically now go and say, okay, Sergey, I want to work with you. Gary, no hard feelings when it's boxing. It is business, it's personal. There are probably hard feelings.
Only time will tell. If you're a true gentleman, you take your losses with the losses, just like you take your wins. And we show each other love inside the ring and outside the ring backstage. So I don't look forward to any animosity towards each other. But truth be told, every boxer has animosity towards everybody. This is an ego sport. And, you know, I was the better man than tonight. How the near future will work out once we cross each other's paths, or if we would continue to be sparring partners, who knows? But right now, I'm just enjoying this victory. I knew he was a tough fighter. And this is what, my 4th undefeated fighter in a row? I mean, we're creating a good legacy for myself. And thank you, Baz. Love you, baby. You're the only one that clapped for that.
It's damn true.
I'm just trying to prove to the world that I'm the best middleweight. All these guys are picking and choosing who they want to fight. They're not picking the best fights out there, but yet they're claiming the title of I'm the best or I'm the most feared. You got to show and prove. And tonight, I fought one of the best middleweights in the division. You guys might not have heard of him, but if you study exactly who he is and what he brings to the table, as you can see, we fought one of the best middleweights in the world, and I'm proud of myself.
Danny.
To your left, Danny. To your left.
Oh, okay.
In moments like this, do you think at all about kind of where you were 7 years ago, and just kind of how far you've come, not just with the title, but also everything kind of at your fingertips right now as you sit in the middleweight division?
I mean, I think about it every now and then, but one thing that I learned, you know, post-cancer was to enjoy every moment of every day. Find the little things to be grateful for. This was a dream of mine, to be at this realm, to be at this place in my life where I was considered champion and thriving in boxing. It's always been a dream of mine, but honestly, just being here and living and having a chance to see my son and my family and my loved ones every day, that means everything to me. This is just, it's material stuff, man. I mean, yeah, I love to please the fan, but my outlook on life is totally different because my life is almost taken. So the fact that I can live every day and breathe every day and be around my loved ones, see the sunshine and, you know, see my family, it's priceless. That alone is priceless.
Danny right here, directly in front of you. Congratulations on your win tonight. I am familiar with the pedigree of Derevyanchenko. First, I'd like to ask you, what are your thoughts on Canelo versus Felding? And things don't normally go perfect or the way they should, you know, in boxing. But if Canelo does lose, you know, would you fight Demetrius Andrade to unify the title since he goes your friend?
I'm up for any fight that makes sense. Me and Boo Boo had a discussion before that we would only do it for the big bucks, and we would only do it for unification. But if it's a fight that makes sense for the near future, I can't go against it. That's like my brother, though, and we have an understanding. But if an upset happens, which it always does in boxing, you can never dictate what happens. We'll have to see for the near future, but I have no plans in fighting him. Is it something that I want to do? Absolutely not. It's not like a Peter Quillin or a Sergey Derevyanchenko where we're just associates. Like, I've known Boo Boo since I was 15, 16 years old. We came up the amateur ranks together. His father is like an uncle to me. You know, this is way more personal than anything. But we also love the sport of boxing, and we also want to do it for the sport of boxing. So we have plans on facing each other, but hopefully in the future, not the near future.
Danny, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
I know you and Sergey are...
Over to your right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Just project your voice.
Sorry. I know you and Sergey are close friends, and seeing how close the fight appeared to be down the line, I know you're interested in Canelo and whatnot. Would you entertain the opportunity for a rematch for him?
Oh, a rematch for Sergey?
Yeah.
Do you think that makes sense right now?
No.
Down the line, you know.
If he was to prove himself or maybe capture a title, maybe. But that's not even my thought process right now. You know, I'm going for the bigger and better opposition. Not to say that he wasn't that, meaning the bigger fights, the marquee fights, the fights that will, you know, solidify my legacy. We're looking for those fights. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, Danny, first off, congratulations on the
Thank you.
fight. And also on kicking cancer's ass.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
You alluded to earlier other fighters talking the talk and not really showing up and sort of walking the walk. I'm assuming there's a Charlo in that mix somewhere. If you had an opportunity to fight Charlo at this point, or somewhere in the near future, would that be a fight that you could get behind? I know we were talking about Boo Boo a moment ago. That's something you really don't have the motivations to fight. But if you had the opportunity to fight one of these Charlos down the line, would that be something that you could get yourself up for?
Eddie just said 90-10 split. I mean, hey, listen, if that's something that the fans want, because I've always been vocal about, you know, fighting Jamal, and this feud that we're having is being built. He's fighting Willie Monroe his next fight, so he's out of obligations right now. We can't say anything because that victory is not promised or assured. So he has to look good, and hopefully if he gets that victory, we can talk about that in the near future. But you know I want that fight. That's a fight that we want, and that's a fight that has been brewing for some time now. So if there's any personal fight that I want, yeah, it's that fight. But we also have a management, we also have a promotion that's going to get us the bigger and better fights that make sense for my career.
Danny, congratulations on the victory tonight in the World Championship. Earlier, Andre had said that one of the fights that he wants to see you in is a Golovkin rematch. He said that there's unfinished business there, and now that you have the belt, he doesn't have any belts, you have some leverage there. Is that a fight that intrigues you on a personal level, that you have unfinished business?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's exactly why on the broadcast I said I would give him the rematch, because I'm champ now, and now there's more of a reward than the risk. Whereas before, he didn't give me the rematch, you know. I wouldn't give me a rematch too if I was Golovkin, to be honest with you, but now there's almost nowhere for him to go. And from what I'm hearing, if he doesn't sign with the zone, he's not going to get any of those big fights that he truly wants. But we'll see what happens. I'm in good hands right now. I'm in the best position in my career. I'm just going to let this dwell, and you guys are going to see what's going to happen in the near future with my career.
With Triple G, the word on the street is he's a possibility he's going to PBC. What do you think about that?
Triple G on PBC? Let me say that again. That sounds pretty good. Right? Triple G on PBC? That'd be cool, man. I love the sport of boxing, and I'm fans of the Canelos, the Triple Gs, the Charlos. I'm fans of every guy that's in my division. I respect boxing, and I love it. So much credit, much support. Whatever you want to consider it. Much love to Triple G in his endeavors or whatever he chooses to go down the line, whether it's CBC, ESPN, DAZN. Much respect to him, but right now, I think it's the Daniel Jacobs show.
Eddie, you have IBF middleweight champion right next to you. You have WBO middleweight champion. And now you have the WBC middleweight champion. What are your thoughts now? How do you feel about that?
Well, my thoughts are that I want to see them. I believe they're only touching the surface. I mean, Andrade won the world title last week. I would have rather really fought Billy Joe Saunders. You know, Danny won tonight in a fight that he probably won't get the credit for because not enough people know about Derevyanchenko. But I want to see him in those marquee fights. You know, Charlo is a great fight. Golovkin is a great fight. But I still go back to the Canelo fight. For me, is one that we nearly got him, and that is a fight that I would love to see Danny Jacobs name up in lights in Vegas fighting Canelo, and I believe he can beat him as well. He has got to get past Fielding first, who's also our guy, so I can't talk too much about that. I know he's a favourite in the fight, but you know, I think at this stage in Danny's career, you know, I don't know how many fights him and Keith and Dre won, but for me, they all have to be, you know, the big marquee fights. You can have a great rest. And one thing we've tried to do with Danny consistently is to map out his schedule. You know, he boxes in November, and he takes a little month off, then he boxes again in April, and he takes a little month off, and he boxes again in October. Everything's been promised, everything's been delivered, and now the plan again is have a couple of months off and start camp again for Cinco de Mayo.
Beautiful. But now you have all the belts, so in a sense you control the division.
No, it's not about control. Listen, at the moment, the middleweight belts, DAZN seems to be the place for that division. For the welterweight division, it seems to be Showtime for that. So things change all the time, but it's not really about the belts. It's about, for me, one particular fight that I believe gives Danny, and of course, the money's always important, and it is a monster payday. But it's a chance to be the absolute king of the division. And the team have always told me that the Canelo fight is one that they really, really believe they can win and really fancy.
So, congratulations, Dan.
Thank you.
What I kind of wanted to know is how would you grade your performance?
I'm sorry, can you speak up a little?
How would you grade your performance tonight? And did Sergey do anything in there that, kind of surprised you? And my second question is for Eddie.
Well, let's answer one question at a time, because you got 2 questions. I'm not gonna do it. So did he do anything in there to surprise me? No, he didn't. I knew his game plan was to go in there and try to slow me down with body shots, because in sparring, when you got a guy bouncing around and he's too fast, the only way to break him down is through the body. So I was expecting that. So no, he didn't do anything to surprise me. He just fought one hell of a fight and he didn't give up.
How would you grade your own performance, though?
I can't grade my performance right now. Initially, I'll probably say maybe a B+, but I got to go back to the tape and really study it to really grade myself. But that's a question I would like to ask Andre was, what do you think about my performance? What do you grade my performance? Maybe I shouldn't ask you that right now.
Eddie, I just kind of wanted to know, since you have all the middleweight belts pretty much, did you kind of want to do like a round robin where you have undisputed champion at middleweight? You have one about
Yeah, look, again, everyone's case by case. Demetrius, for me, I would like to see him have 2 quick fights to get in the groove. He's been inactive for a long time. Danny's another story. He hasn't been inactive. He's had 3 fights in 12 months. He's ready to go. So, if Danny can beat Canelo, he becomes the IBF, the WBC, the WBA world champion. And then, perhaps, when you talk about Andrade fight, if that's an undisputed fight, maybe the dynamics change. But right now, I don't think those guys are looking at fighting each other. For Demetrius, I'd like to get him out active in the big fights, defending his title. But for Danny, I'd like to see him in the unification.
Danny, a lot of your criticizers, the Danny Jacobs haters, were saying Danny was a cruiserweight, Danny was a light heavyweight against Triple G. Now you have the IBF belt that mandates the second day weigh-in. Do you think this gives credence now to that you are a middleweight and somebody who can come in and you're not an overblown, oversized weight bully?
Right.
Not in unifications. no weight penalty in unification.
I mean, I've always said that if I was 185 pounds in that fight with Triple G, I wouldn't have not been able to perform the way that I did. I would have been sluggish, I would have been slow, and my reaction time would have been off. The reason why we skipped the IBF weigh-ins of the Triple G fight was simply because I wanted to get rest. It's hard for me to get sleep the night before. And we went into that fight 175, 176 the most. The same thing with this fight. I did the second day weigh-in to prove
the haters wrong.
To prove the haters wrong, but also to abide by the rules. But this was the only opportunity that I had to win the belt, was to do the second weigh-in. So it felt great, we looked good, we still were strong. There's no difference from the 2 fights. So.
2 more questions, guys.
Thank you.
Danny and Andre, you can chime in. Assuming a fight with Canelo takes place in the future, any idea what weight that would be? That would take place? Because he's moving up to 168.
Canelo don't want to fight me at 68, I can tell you that. Yeah, I'm a really big boy.
You're comfortable moving up?
I'm comfortable moving up. And Drake?
And I'm very comfortable with him moving up. I think that in the stages of Danny's career, eventually he will be super middleweight champion of the world. My brother from another mother, Keith, over here, he thinks that Danny, it doesn't work. He thinks that Danny will be middleweight for his entire career, but I know that this young man, Most of it. This young man is going to be a several division world champion. And before the end and before he enters the hallowed halls of the Boxing Hall of Fame, he might be a 3 weight division champion. But he will definitely be at super middleweight in the future, and he will do what he has to do to he'll do what he has to do to maintain it. As for Canelo, with this, he's going up and he's fighting at 168. My thing is, I say Canelo is going to be running around. He doesn't want to really get in the ring with someone like Danny, and we might have to chase him. But we are fast. Well, Danny's fast. I'm not fast. Danny will chase him and get him. And if it's at 68, we'll get him there. If it's at 160, we'll get him there. No matter where we have to find him, we'll get him.
Right here, Danny, one last question from me. Canelo was listed at 5'9", but really he's about 5'7" or so. Moving to 168 pounds, that's a very, very dangerous fight for him against Rocky Feldman. A lot of people don't really know who Rocky Feldman is because a lot of his fights, the majority, if not all, wasn't televised here in the States. So, can you give a prediction on that fight, and how do you think that Rocky Feldman can spoil Canelo's plans?
Well, this is boxing. Anything can happen, especially when you're fighting a bigger man. I don't know Rocky's chances of winning because I don't really know his skills. It was really my first time ever hearing his name when the Canelo, it was my first time hearing about him once the Canelo fight happened, but
you might be fine.
But you know, anything happens in boxing. I just think Canelo is going for history and trying to be a 3-division champion. So best of luck to him, and come back on down to the middleweight division. Let's get this thing on. Thank you guys. Thank you very much for the support. I appreciate you guys for staying and all the questions. May God bless you.